You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
This is Where You Live. I'm Gene Sullivan and broadcasting from the True North Painting Studios. This show is brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency, and Extreme Exteriors. You can count on Extreme Exteriors for expert installation of exterior siding, roofing, soffits, fascia, decks, windows, and more. With their knowledge and experience, they can design the perfect solution to make your home beautiful and energy efficient, saving you maintenance and money for years to come. Give them a call at 763-441-1334 and tell them Gene sent you. It's time now to hear from the Community Associations Institute. The CAI Minute is brought to you by New Concepts Rental Management. Whether you're an accidental landlord or a seasoned investor, New Concepts Rental Management can advise and guide you through every aspect of the business. Give us a call at 952-922-2500.
Are you a volunteer in your homeowner association? Maybe a residential property manager wanting to increase your industry knowledge and obtain professional credentials in property management. Are you a vendor or professional offering services to homeowners and associations or property managers? If you said yes to any one of those questions, then join the Community Association Institute. The CAI is a great organization, helping you be informed and more proficient in your homeowner association board member or property manager role. It's also a great way to network with potential clients. For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit cai-mn.com to learn more. That's cai-mn.com. The Minnesota chapter of CAI holds monthly managers' luncheons, board member education training, property manager certification training, and much more. It also produces a bi-monthly informative magazine called Minnesota Community Living. Why not join the Community Association Institute today? You can do so online at cai-mn.com and select membership.
We're talking about some major changes with HOA legislation in the state of Illinois. And as always, I am always taking a look at how legislation is written. And because you're dealing with people who just don't necessarily understand an industry, in their desire to want to fix something, in their desire to want to try and make things better, they so many times actually make things worse. We're talking first, of course, about the legislation that deals with solar and wind power. It said that the Illinois Condominium Property Act is going to grant associations the power to install solar energy systems and wind energy devices on the common elements. And as I pointed out, this is a power or authority that the association already has. What they do, though, however, is they do take time to identify how much of a majority of the homeowners need to agree to it. And so they say 75%. And so what they're doing is they're saying, in essence, those that have a private contract law with associations where they entered knowing that they needed 80%, some 100% of all homeowners to agree to something before it gets changed, that goes out the window now. And so the Illinois legislators are saying, we don't think you know how to govern yourselves. You don't know what it means to handle contract law, so we're going to lower that. So if I were a homeowner and I purchased in an association where there was 100% agreement before moving ahead, I would be upset if that standard is lower. I'll give you an example. At the company that I own, New Concepts, I own with two other owners. There's three of us. I can tell you that any two of us could constitute a majority in making decisions and moving forward with something. But we made a decision. As a corporation, as a private group. We said, unless we have 100% agreement, we weren't going to move ahead with something. Why? Well, number one, we wanted to make sure that we all stayed friends and had a great working relationship. And number two, that also allowed that if only two of the three agreed to something, it meant that perhaps there was a little bit more thought that needed to be put into an idea before moving forward with it. And if an association again, a privately held corporation says that 100% of the owners are what's needed, if that's what they agreed to and they want, why would the state of Illinois say, we're not going to honor that contract private agreement that you've had with yourself? So I think there's an issue. I'll tell you one thing, though, that the law doesn't do in this case, and that is it doesn't define some things in a very major way. Listen to this. It refers to the installation of solar energy or wind energy devices. It says the installation cannot adversely affect either the common elements or the owners. What does that mean? That's a very subjective word, adversely affect. And who's going to determine what is considered an adverse effect? Let me give you an example. A number of years ago, the federal government in the 90s came by and they said, you know what? Concerning satellite dishes, homeowner associations could not restrict an owner who wants to place a satellite dish on the roof. And then all of a sudden, you had some issues because now you had HOAs who just had the roofs replaced, and that contractor who put on that brand new roof said, I'm going to give you a warranty where I'm going to guarantee the performance of that new roof as long as you don't change it. Now, as soon as you start putting in satellite dishes, now you're drilling in holes and putting up that dish. Now, all of a sudden, you're putting in additional holes in a roofing component. Now you've got the contractor who said, I'm not warranting it any longer. And there were some issues. Things got around that by saying the association could be able to establish where that goes. In this particular case, what if the association said, we think that we can't see how a wind or a solar device could be placed on a property without it adversely affecting others. In the case of solar energy, the position of that solar panel is very important. If the person who wants solar energy lives on the north side of the house, they're not going to collect as much sun. It's going to be very inefficient. So now they're going to put it on the south side. But in a lot of townhome associations, the south side is a different roof that expands over the homes of other people, not where the person who wants the solar energy established. And so now you're taking away that person's right who may not want to have that there. And so what is considered adverse here? I think by the fact that the legislators here wanted to put forward and say, hey, we're putting forward major environment protection here for the state. In their rush to do so, they've provided a very badly written bill. It is terrible. Things aren't well defined. And who's going to define it? If there gets to be an argument, is that going to be with one of the regulatory agencies like the EPA? And then the association is going to find itself in a lawsuit just because they wanted to define something as adverse differently than the EPA did. So, like I said, there are a lot of things here that just aren't really well defined. And because of this, I think this particular one is a bad one. Well, that is number one. What's another recent change in the legislation here for associations? And that deals with contracts with family and friends. A homeowner association board, from time to time, people have known and have seen that happen, where someone on the board will say, you know what, I think that if we really want to get the best job done at a good price, let's let so-and-so, this company, do the work. And that person is a family member of someone on the board. Perhaps someone on the board themselves is someone who owns that company and would get compensated for that. It brings up issues. What constitutes something that would be considered a conflict of interest. Well, I tell you what, we're going to take a break right now, but when we get back, we're going to deal with this area of conflict of interest. How should an association deal with it? And more importantly, what does the state Illinois legislators think that this should be dealt with? We'll find out after these messages.